Therapy recently taught me I attract toxic because I reflect toxic.
Is that a prompt? Therapy
Yeah.
taught me? Wait,
Therapy
that's so
recently
good.
taught me.
Real.
She wore the wrong shoes to a social climb. She'd rather tell everyone to take a hike. She never learned to exercise self-control. Whoa, she's an antisocialite.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Antisocialite. I'm your host, Carly Cassidy. Get ready to be inspired and enlightened as we welcome the brilliant and trailblazing, can I use your first name? Sara to our podcast, where they'll share their valuable insights and expertise. Welcome, Sara. That was our intro. I said, give me a one-line podcast guest introduction to ChatGPT, and that was what we
Thank you. You were right. It is quite flattering.
Yeah, the other one, that was like the second one, because the other one was like, join us as we deep dive into the mind of a true industry disruptor and thought leader.
Wow.
And
Okay, I wouldn't say that much.
I was like, this might be a lot. Considering I don't think I'm gonna try to not harp on you or interview you as much. Just because I don't know if you want to just share your life. But yeah, so Sara is here because it was very hot outside and we had plans today and the weather said nah. Because it's 90 degrees and there's a severe thunderstorm watch. That's cool.
Yeah. I feel like 90 is not that bad, being from Texas. But when it's humid, it's just so much worse.
And when you're in Texas and it's 90 degrees, you're like, oh, we go to our heavily air conditioning car to the heavily air conditioned house or something restaurant.
Yeah.
Or we're in someone's backyard by a pool. I feel like I'm never hey, you want to go walk 30 minutes and limited shade because there are no trees in New York,
or be in a subway station.
There's
They're
nothing
so bad in the summer.
I saw someone going onto the subway yesterday and she was so smart. Before she even tried to get in, she just stuck her hands in to check if it was air conditioned or not, and it wasn't. She was like, not today.
That is really smart.
Yeah. Well, one time I tried to get on, literally a week ago, I tried to get into a subway car and it was already really hot on the platform. And I stepped in, and it was so hot in that car. There was no AC, and I said, nope. I ran to the next one.
Because I'm always worried, if I run to the next one, will the doors close?
That's
so
what
I
I'm
always
about.
stay in the car until the next station, but sometimes it's a couple minutes.
It was brutal. And it was a night where it was it had rained a little bit, and so it was still really muggy and humid, and I had to wait 10 minutes for the train to even come, and I was just I can't be in this anymore.
That's a lot.
That was the night where a guy, I got into the next car, but there was a guy that drew my portrait in the subway, and
that night.
Yeah. And did you see? I posted
Wait, did
on
you
Instagram.
Keep it?
I threw it away now. Because I was kind of I'm a big germaphobe, and so I took it, but then it wasn't the most flattering self-portrait, because I think what he was doing is he was drawing the girl that was sitting next to me, and then she left, and then he just added some bangs to it, and then he got to the chest region, and he gave me double D's and was just staring and drawing.
Oh my god.
And I was like, thank you, sir, but he also didn't have all his teeth, so it was a little unsettling.
So the girl next to you had double D's.
No. He waited that. So he drew, so her hair was down, so he drew straight hair down, and she had glasses on, so there were glasses. And then she left, so then he just started adding bangs, and my hair was up. I had a claw clip, and then I don't have glasses on, and then he just got down to I was wearing it was a nice dress, but it definitely wasn't as revealing as he made it in the drawing. But it was funny because he had been drawing a couple that was sitting across from me, and he offered it to them, but he wanted money in exchange, and they were I'm really sorry, we don't have anything. And he got upset with them.
What?
Because he was everyone always says they don't have anything, and they were no, really. And they were this is all we have. And they gave him those when you go to the movie theater, how they have the crunch bars, but they're the pieces. It was like a bag of those. Like I guess maybe they either, I didn't know if they saw Oppenheimer or Barbie, but like probably one of those. And so they gave him that. And so I was nervous because he was like kind of.
Did you have money?
No, and I didn't have anything on me, and so I was kind of nervous because he was like a little bit aggressive, like, and like me just like being a woman, like traveling alone and just sitting there, I felt like awkward because I was like, oh, I know I don't have anything, and I was just. They were looking at him to see who he was drawing next because he drew the woman, and so they weren't sure if he was gonna draw like the man or something, or they weren't sure who was drawing. And then I heard them because I was like just pretending I wasn't noticing. I was like, please don't draw me, like turn my head away, because I was like, I'm awkward and I don't want to deal with the discomfort of like not having anything to give this man. True. And then I hear the guy go, oh yeah, he's adding bangs. And I was like, no. So and then funny. I was like, shoot.
No, I hate the expectation that you should always give someone cash if they like do anything on the train. Yeah. Like, what if I didn't like your drums performance?
Well, the thing too is it's like I'm an artist and portraits are kind of my thing. And so I was kind of like, I was like, sir, everyone is an artist in their own right, but like this is a very inaccurate portrait. I was like, I'm flattered for the upgrade you gave me in the chest department, but I don't have glasses and this isn't my hair, this isn't my face.
It was an amalgamation of people he saw on
literally
the train.
And I was like, but yeah, I took it and I was just like, I kind of like gave him the shrug, like the kind of like, I don't have anything. He was like nice, he was like nice with me, he was like, yeah, like I know. And I was like, no, but like, really? And I wanted to be like, you can have my umbrella, but I was like, it's raining, I need it.
Oh God, not the umbrella.
Yeah, but oh yeah, we were talking about subway car. That's like the thing. I feel like the older I get, the more I think I might have undiagnosed ADHD because I like can't stay on top. I'm like, what are we even talking? How did I go into this long monologue? And I realized, like, in college, everyone would think that I was, like, so studious and, like, oh, like I mean, I was, like, a nerd still, but they're like, yeah, you're just, like, always studying in your room. And I'm like, no, like, I'm always studying because I have to take a break every 30 minutes and do BuzzFeed quizzes because I can't focus. Like, it takes me so much, like, longer
I feel that,
settle
though.
down.
I actually feel that.
Like, I'm like, okay, I looked at 5 PowerPoint slides. Time to do a little break. So it takes so much longer. But yeah, Sarah's here, and we are from the same hometown. We went to high school together. We are high school heroes. No sidekicks here. But yeah, are you big? This is random. Are you big into like superhero movies?
Like I've watched most of the Marvel movies.
I feel like it's kind of like a badge of honor that like I've never seen any of the Avengers movies, and I don't even know how many there are, but I feel like
at this point you should just never watch them. Any of them.
Like
it's like how my boyfriend's never watched Harry Potter and he's never read the books, and he's like, at this point it's like a personality trait. Like
I get that. I'm not big on fantasy. Like like I wasn't even really big. I didn't even read like the Twilight books.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that was definitely just like pop fiction. Like it's not
I feel
like
everyone's
good.
Like that was like the PG version of like I feel like 50 Shades. Like it's just like what people read. That's
exactly.
Like...
It's just like a fantasy as like a teenager, you know.
Oh man. Yeah, we went to high school together. How would you describe yourself in high school?
Just really extra, like
dramatic, or like
just like really dramatic, and like I thought I was so funny, but looking back maybe I was just like out of pocket. I feel like I thought I was like so smart and like so cool, and then I went to college and then I met actual smart and cool people, and I was like, oh shit, I need to check myself.
I feel like that's kind of like when you go to New York and you're like, oh yeah, like I'm really like ambitious, and then they're like, oh yeah, like I created this company at 23 and now I did like everyone's so successful, and I'm like, I'm gonna sit down now.
Yeah, I think like when I first moved to New York, people were like, oh, like be careful because like in New York there's always gonna be someone who's doing better than you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I just like kept it in mind, but I was like, actually that never bothered me because I accepted.
It's motivating. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I just accepted in college that I was just gonna be like average,
Yeah.
And so moving here, it didn't really like register.
It's like kind of peaceful and kind of nice just to be like, I'm okay with being average. Or like most people are average because like just like the way it is. And it's like once you're okay like being average, then I feel like you set yourself up to then like take risks to be like, I don't know, above average, extraordinary. What do we like? I don't know what we call people.
Or just like being satisfied with yourself and like not being afraid to like try new things.
Yeah, definitely. Like when you're not afraid to fail. Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's a big life lesson because like growing up, I was always a perfectionist, so I feel like I was like afraid to like take risks and be like, oh my god, it's gonna be so embarrassing if I like fail at this or that. But like really, I feel like people are successful just like fail enough times to then they like find
100%. I feel like I got so many like rejections in college at like companies I interviewed with. Yeah. So I was like, I don't even care about rejections. Like, let's just see like where I can get offers.
That's how I am in dating now. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, like rejection, like open to the feedback. Yeah, like I'm just.
Let me know what I can improve on next time.
Hey, can I get your feedback on this survey? I'm like the people where after the call center, I'm like, so will you take 5 minutes if you leave my name at the bottom and give me
you should make a Google form and like have people fill them out.
That. I feel like it would be even like a bigger ego blow because I would send it and they'd be like, who?
Oh.
Be like, what?
Or like there's like an option like I don't really know this person.
I don't remember like memorable. They're not even like it was bad. They're just like I'm indifferent. But yeah, did you ever go? How did you meet your current boyfriend?
We just met through mutual friends.
I feel like that's
it was a very safe way to meet people because I felt like if we're meeting through mutual friends, it means we like should have a certain set of things in common.
And they're not gonna like murder you because like they'd have people that
socially
have to be
accountable. Yeah. People are gonna be like, where's Sarah?
I feel like that's a good segue to like introduce the story I was gonna tell today because I decided to try my hand at being set up on a blind date with like a real person through friends. And it got canceled or I canceled it because he was like the victim of a crime. And so it got canceled. So basically he got sextorted. Yeah. So that's the prequel. But how it starts is I want to be like, I woke up one morning. No, I was just like sitting at my desk one day and I got a text from a friend of mine or more, I guess like acquaintance, a girlfriend of mine. And she was like, hey, like, how would you feel about being set up on a date? And I was like, well, the guy, like one of the guys that liked me on Hinge today had his salary in his bio. And so I was like, I'm open to suggestions. Yeah, it was this guy. And he was like, income level, he was like 170K with a plus. Like, it was like, yeah, gonna go up. And I just was like, cool, bro. Cool.
I mean,
I'm like, maybe if I was on seeking arrangement, I would care about your income level. But, I don't need to know. Like,
I feel like no matter how much you make, if you put it in your bio, it's just a red flag.
Yeah, I'm just like, I wanted it to be like, I was like, is this an annuity from your trust fund or what is it? Because like any guy that has that and then he had like his boarding school, like his high school in his bio. And I'm like, if you're putting your high school and you are closer to 30 than you are 20, it's just, I don't know, it's weird to me. And it's not like,
was it like a New York like private school?
No, they're always like the boarding schools where it's like, I don't know where, it would be like Connecticut. It's just one of the like things where I'm like, oh, you actually you were boarded there. You didn't just pay for day tuition.
Okay.
Fancy,
I see.
But I was just like, ugh. And so she had a coworker who was single and she like sent pictures and I was like, yeah, like he's not my usual type. He wasn't like unattractive. I don't typically go for, actually, I'm not even going to say anything about what he looked like because I want to be smart and not give away any identifying details where
fair enough.
He could sue me for just like saying any of this. Stuff? Yeah. Because I'm also not here to like humiliate him very much. This is like a life lesson that I'm sure he has learned from, but it still like sucks for him.
Yeah.
But I don't feel as bad based on like other events that you'll find out about. But yeah, so she was like, yeah, I'll give him your phone number. And I don't hear anything for like 3 weeks. And I'm like, cool, I think I got ghosted before even like communication. I was like, how does this like, how do I get haunted before, like, anything? And so eventually he texted me, and he asked to get, like, I knew he was a bro when it was, like, a Friday, and he was like, yeah, like, what are you doing? He's like, I just poured myself a tequila because I needed it after this week. And I'm like, cool.
What time of the night was it?
It was literally just, like, 5 o'clock and,
wow.
like, a Friday.
A 5 o'clock tequila?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know. And, like, I guess I'm just, like, very girly to where I'm like, if I'm drinking tequila, it's going to be in a fruity little marg. Like, I'm not just pouring tequila straight. True. But I also just
maybe
feel
his job is stressful.
But that's the thing. I'm like, when people just openly start talking about drinking alone, it's, like, the first thing. I'm like, all right. And he asked for we set up a time to meet because I was like, let's do a coffee date. Like, that's good.
Low commitment, I guess.
Yeah. And what did he do? Oh yeah, he was like, yeah, like, what's your IG, by the way? And he's like old. He's like several years older than me, like probably almost a decade older than me. So I'm just kind of like,
okay.
It was like a little bit of a red flag. I was kind of like,
do you think he was like trying to
like,
look at pictures of you?
maybe he wanted to see more pictures of me or something, but I still just always hate connecting on social media before you meet, because then it's like, I find that guys either like caricaturize you to where they kind of just like, you're like a cartoon, they like judge you by like your stories, or they just kind of have this little like, I don't know, yeah, like they get like the little like, oh, like, haha, this is how you are, and I'm like, no, like, let's just meet. And then if you meet and you don't like each other, it's like, I have to either awkwardly like unfollow you or mute you, or I don't know. But I was like, I kind of wanted to see more pictures of him because like I wanted to be, I didn't know how tall he was, and I was like, you know, I don't want any surprises. So I was like, sure. And he like followed me, and then we like kind of texted, like barely texted honestly before that. But I noticed that week that like this girl starts popping up in my Instagram stories, and I don't like religiously look at who's looking at my Instagram stories, but it was just like, when I was scrolling, I have like a little bit of hypervigilance about it being public because I have like a past with like people.
Do you have a public profile?
Yeah. And so like I'm always worried about like, I don't know, like an ex-boyfriend creeping, or like I got into like legal stuff with Spain, so I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, I want to not be like watched. And this girl's account kept popping on, and I was like, who is this? And I went to it, and like no one I knew followed her, but then when I just like clicked on one of her pictures, he had liked it, and so like they had. And then I looked at her face, and I was like, oh, she kind of looks like that. She could be this girl that was in like a picture he posted like a few like years ago. And like, I found it a red flag when there have been guys where like I've dated them and they have old pictures with their girlfriend that like make it seem like you would think they broke up like a lot more like in the past, like a lot earlier than they really did. To where I'm like, oh, they've been single for like a year or something, when you're like, oh no, they broke up like 2 months ago, and but they like,
or like it was like a messy breakup,
yeah, and I'm like, yeah, and so he had like a picture from like 2 years ago, and then I asked her, I was like, hey, like by chance did he like recently get out of a long-term relationship? And
like you asked your friend?
Yeah, and she was like, yeah, like I think like a few months ago or something, beginning of this year. And I was like, I don't want to do this again. Because I'm like, I don't want to be like anyone's rebound or anything, like, you know, like I'm kind of like, I don't want to waste my time. But I was like, it's just coffee, get my steps in, you know, hit my fitness step goal for the day, you know. And literally it's the night before we're about to meet. Oh, and I guess I should add that I went on a date the day before I was supposed to meet this guy, because I had a second date with another guy. And that was like the first guy I had been out with like in a long time. I don't know, like I don't even understand how that works. Like I literally will like not go on dates, and I'm like, well, how do I have two in like one weekend?
Comes in waves.
This guy, it was like a situation where we like didn't really hit it off on like a first date, or like I didn't really like feel anything, but I was like, you know, I should give like everyone like a second chance, not like a second chance, like he like had to step up his game or anything, but I was like, maybe like there's no chemistry, but maybe it's just like the awkwardness of first dates. But like our second date was at a figure drawing class, and it ended up being a nude figure drawing class, and so we drew this guy. It ended up being,
wait, who picked the class?
So he this is also my red flag to myself, is like, Carly, if you're telling a guy who wants to go out with you again to text you when he gets back from vacation in 2 weeks to set up plans instead of like continuing to talk throughout, like, because you don't want to really like engage, then you probably just don't like him you're not that interested.
That's a good take.
But he like resurfaced and was like, hey, like, how are your figure drawing skills? Not like, hey, how have you been, or like, what's up? He was just like, how are your skills? Like, there's this class I'm interested in taking. Would you want to like check it out? And I'm like, oh, like, he knows I like art, so maybe this is like an appeal to that. It's an activity. But then I looked at the website that he sent, and I was like, there were some drawings that were like naked people, some that weren't. And I was like, is this a nude figure drawing class by chance? And he just was like, you know, like, unclear. There's some pictures on the website that are, some that aren't. Like, he was like, can definitely opt for an activity with less nudity if you want. And I was like, also kind of looking for ways, I think, to like write him off in my head. So I was like, yeah, no, let's go for it. I was like, it'll be a story, or like, you know, if it doesn't work out, like, it's just something to do. And I went, and it ended up being a nude guy with a ponytail and like a red satiny like magician robe that he wore, and he had like those red flip-flops that were like those like shower shoes you'd wear in college. And it was just like, I felt like I was in a weird movie. Like, it was just so funny.
Was it fun?
It was fun,
because isn't it like super quiet in those classes?
It's really
so you can't
quiet.
Like talk to your date or anything.
And so like they would do, what I thought was weird is I've been to figure drawing classes where they change different poses, but this one, it was like there would be breaks, so it would be like 4 20 minutes or like 3 20-minute sections where they would give you like 5 10-minute breaks in between, but it was like the same pose every time. And like, I draw very fast, so I was like, I'm just tired of just like, I don't want to stay here for 2 hours drawing the same pose. And since it was the same pose, I don't know what part of if it was like the way the classroom was set up, the model, his head was tilted to where he just was making intense eye contact with me the entire time, because he was just like, that's where the pose was. And so it was like really unsettling to draw like a man where you can see his penis, and you're like, thankfully the angle was like his arm and hand was covering it. Oh, okay. But it was weird because there would be people that were like moving to get like a better view, because they're like, this is a better to draw. They're like very serious like artists, and I'm just like, I don't need, you know, like, I was like, you know,
were you sitting there like filling out the details?
Yeah,
like,
I was like, I should do like the body, and I was like, oh, there's nice hand placement to cover it up. And then in the middle, I don't know if it's just because it was awkward, or like, I think it's just this guy, like, he was so nice, and like, so I'm not like shitting on him, but we just like didn't have chemistry.
And it's hard to figure out from like a silent figure drawing date.
And like, he asked me, he was just like, in one of the breaks, have you ever shot a gun? And I was like,
is it because you said you were from Texas?
Yes. He goes, yeah, you're from Texas,
dude,
right? And
I get
was
that
like,
question all the time.
And I was like, yeah, but there's more Teslas than horses in Dallas. Like, true. And he goes, yeah, I went to like a bachelor party out of state last weekend, and like they took us to a shooting range, and I like chafed my face with the gun, like, 'cause it like fire, like it does like a little swing back. And I was like, I don't know, I never shot a gun. He was like, yeah, I'm trying to tell if it's still chafed. And I didn't know if it was kind of like a thing where he's like, oh, like, like rugged, because he definitely wasn't like a macho man. Like, he had nice like arms and stuff, but I was like, he was definitely more of the like sensitive intellectual kind of vibe. And then after, I felt so bad because I just like was not feeling it, and I don't know if he knew, but then after he's like, yeah, so you want to like grab a bite? And it was like 3 hours of this class. It was also a day where it's like as hot as it is today, and they didn't have AC, so they just had like certain fans, and it was in this 4th floor, I guess like a renovated apartment that was like a little bit dingy in Chinatown, and so it was just really, really hot, and I was just like, I was honestly like sweating. I was like, honestly, I probably like sweat stains right now. I'm gross, and I was like, I just want to go home. Like, it's like 9 p.m. I was like, I was ready to go home. Yeah. I was like, I have to let my dog out. Sorry, bye. It's good to see you. And then, like, he never texted me. I never texted him. So I was like, okay, I think if we mutually just agree, like, to not contact, it's okay. But so essentially, the point of that is that was the first unsolicited dick I was exposed to. That really 24-hour period, because the model. Not the date. My date did not show me anything except his nice personality. And I come home that evening, and this is, okay, I promise I'm not saying this for clout. I won't even give details, but I did like an act of kindness. Because I feel like if I say like what I did, then people be like, oh, you just you're just doing performative like activism or something. So I felt, because you know how like when people do something nice, they like make like a whole Facebook article or LinkedIn thing about it. Yeah.
LinkedIn
so post. Like first of all, no one probably listens to my podcast. So like there's an unhoused man who he always sleeps on the steps of the laundromat around the corner, and so I always see him, and he doesn't speak English. And this woman, I always walk like Linus by him, and like Linus will like say hi and like play with him. But I noticed like all his like bedding got like taken. He used to have like this whole setup because he's been there in like winter. Like he's just I feel like he's like literally a neighbor because I like pass him like every single night. And his bedding got taken, and I'm like, okay, I literally have like 4 pillows, and I'm seeing this man like leaning up against like a glass door. And so I just like went up to him and said, I speak Spanish. I didn't know like if he spoke Spanish, but I was like, he didn't speak English, but he like spoke Spanish. So I like gave him a pillow because I was like, I like can't go to bed thinking about like someone like not how. So yeah, and so I was just like feeling very good inside. Like I just felt like very like warm and fuzzy. And then after that, I get a buzz on my phone, and I had just clarified plans with the coworker of my friend, the blind date, for the next morning to get coffee and go on like a little walk. Then I get an Instagram message request from a random like kind of like spam account, and it says, hey, I want to show you something. And then it's like blurred out images because it says like, it's like Instagram does this thing where it's like if you receive image like message requests, it will put like a black screen, and you have to like tap it to like unblur it. And I just was prepared for it to be an inappropriate picture, like kind of like Omegle, like you do like the thing where
my god,
you know how you'd have, I don't know, whenever you'd go on Omegle with friends, we'd always have one friend like cover our camera, and then another one kind of like cover the screen to be like, is it a dick, okay, God. Person. And then because there were so many creepy dudes that just sat on that whacking off. And so I was just like prepared to like brace yourself. And then it was a mirror selfie of like a guy in like boxer briefs, and I was like, wait, is that my date for tomorrow? And then I looked at the next one, and it was like I could tell it was like a Snapchat screen recording, and it showed the date's full name at the top, and it was like from the perspective of like someone who had received Snapchats from him, and it was like a screen recording, and then they tapped on something he sent them, and it was like not full nudity, but it was like him playing with himself with like a gross caption. And I just was like, what in the world? And so I thought, in my first instinct, because I blocked that girl's account that I thought was his ex-girlfriend.
I feel like it's crazy that you even like had a girl from this guy like watching your stories.
Well, that means she just went to the following. And so like me, I'm not, my first instinct is not, oh my god, this girl is insane. It's that like this guy, if they were dating, is like bad news and made someone very insecure to where they feel like this like hypervigilance. I need to go see like who's he following and look at what is he doing, is he moved on, like it's always that stuff. Because when I dated a really bad dude and he was like cheating on me when he would like travel, I would go to his followers. I'm like, who are all these girls in countries where I know where he's going to travel because he's on dating apps with his location there before he even gets there. And girls are following him. And so then he would post or be tagged in like a picture, a story, and then like those accounts would be blocked from his, or like he would be like, you're crazy, like that kind of stuff. To where I'm like, I don't think this is like a girl. Anytime a girl's like being an internet sleuth, it's usually not because they're crazy. It's because some guy is not a good partner. And so I was like, that already made me feel unsettled. And then so since I blocked her account, just thinking like, okay, I don't want her to be watching my stories, but I'm not trying to go on private because I'm trying to like show my art and podcast stuff. This guy, then I was like, oh my god, is this from his girl? I'm like, maybe she is crazy, because I'm like, who else would have? I thought it was like, oh, they're still talking, or like this guy, she's trying to be like, hey, like he's talking to you and me, or like what, you know?
Yep.
Because I was like, who else would have this stuff, like, you know? And so I sent him the screenshots, and I was like, dude, I take it you're recently out of a relationship, but like this is too much for me. Like your ex-girlfriend, I think, is sending me this and like is looking at my stories, like I assume that's who this is from, but like I'm gonna have to respectfully cancel. And it turns out it was not his ex-girlfriend. Okay.
But it was definitely him?
It was definitely him.
In the Snapchat?
It ended up being that he was being what's known as sextorted, and it's being popular. It's really common right now. It's like on the rise, and so there's all these news articles about it. But they're warning parents of like high school boys. They're saying if you have a son that's like 14 to 17, beware, because there are men in like other countries that are making catfish like accounts of like hot girls and like following boys on Instagram, trying to like go to Snapchat, and so they send nudes. So like one of the things I saw in the little Snapchat recording was like he clearly got some sort of like fake either AI or like downloaded from a porn site like nudes that he thought were from this girl, and he wrote like, send me more please, with like hard eyes, and I'm like, oh. But and then he sent me this thing. He was like, I'm really sorry, like I was hacked. And then the next morning he was like, yeah, like I'm really sorry about that, like I had to like an FBI report and like call the police. Like it was like this whole thing.
Holy shit.
Because what they do is they like get you to send them your nudes, and then they like they record them. They demand money, and they threaten to send them to people in your Instagram list. And since I guess I was one of the more recent follows, they like found they sent me, and so I'm sure other people got them, but probably didn't even see them in the request or didn't look in it. I don't know.
That's crazy.
But it was literally funny because originally the reason why I said that thing about the pillow is I came back feeling like, or after that happened and I get this, I'm like, man, like karma's not real. Like this fucking sucks. And then I was like, you know what? No, karma is real. The universe was like, hey, I'm gonna save you a lot of time and pain.
Dodged a bullet.
Yeah. But it gets better because he tried to tell me, because I had sent him the screenshot of that girl looking at my stories. He's like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know why that girl would be looking at your stories. Like, that's just a friend of a friend. But, like, if you still want to get coffee, if you change your mind, like, let me know. And I was like, sir, respectfully.
I'm not changing my mind.
You are way past the age of your frontal lobe being developed to, like, fall for that. Like, I don't know, like, if any guys need to hear this, but, like, if a girl is asking to send you naked pictures of themselves that you don't know, she is a man, and like or she is not real. Like do
you think if you send nudes as a guy you're a red flag in general, or like is it situationally okay?
Here's the thing. So I think I'm just not a person who's a fan of nudes in general, because and I was in a long-term relationship, so like you're usually like, what are you gonna do to like keep things exciting? But like this is also how I knew I was in a relationship with like the wrong person, is I was like terrified, oh my god, if I send him something he's gonna like keep it and then, or like take screen, you know, like he's gonna tell me he's not, but he's gonna like save it, then like it's gonna end up on the internet somewhere, you know, like I don't know, because he also was in like technology and like engineering. I was like, and so, but also like as a girl, like I don't want to see, I don't know, there's a difference. Like I would say like if a guy sends pictures in like his underwear or something, that could be like kind of different if they like, there's a like the like Calvin Klein, the like boxer briefs, like those are cute. Like, you know, the ones you see like when people do the like my Calvin's like stuff like that, but like guys also just like don't know how to take picture, like, you know, I don't know, I just like don't need, I also just don't really like selfies of men in general. Like if it's not like a funny ridiculous picture, like a goofy thing, then I don't need to like see it.
I agree.
I'm like, the worst is on dating apps when guys have selfies that are like taken in a car behind the steering wheel, it's just like their face, and I'm like, no, stop it. Especially in New York, I'm like why
out of all of your photos, if that was one of the photos so you chose.
Or I have friends, I have one guy friend, and he has so many friends, and he's like so social and all this stuff, but his Hinge, half of them are like selfies and like no like group shots or anything with like friends. I'm like, obviously I don't want to see like 11 dudes and not know who you are, but like you have friends, show us that like I'm not going to be the only person in your life, you know? Like, you know, or like I helped him out because I was like, okay, you're going to put a picture of you as a kid with like a funny caption. And like that got like a lot of likes. And then I'm like, you're going to limit it to one selfie. It's a mirror pic selfie. It's not just like your face. And it's a funny joke because there's like barely a plant in the picture. And then you just make the caption like, I thought my plant looked like really good in this, or something, just like something, because it's like you know, like really clever, just like fun, you know, like funny, not where it's just like selfie like because I get it, like you're happy, like you're working on your body, you're going to the gym, but like girl, like also like gym pics that guys take, those are for other guys, like girls don't really, I feel like they don't really, I don't want to speak I don't want to speak for all girls, but like on dating apps I'm like, I'm not just like looking. I feel like it's more common in like when I have guy friends in the gay community, like pictures like that, because it's like a lot of people are just looking for hookups. They're like, yeah, I want to see like your physique, but like I feel like I'm like, I need to know who you are. It's like your mind.
I feel like it's enough to know that he doesn't have a dad bod, and then we can just like move on.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, so this guy, he was like, I don't know who this girl is, just a friend of a friend. And I was like, don't gaslight me, bro. I know this is not a friend of a friend. And so me being me, I, for solidarity, I DM'd her. Because I just was like, hey, because also, like, I never want to be a source of, like, insecurity for another girl. Like, I've been the girl that's, like, worrying about a guy or, like, talking to a girl. And I'm like, I literally don't know this guy. Like, I just messaged her. I was like, I don't know this guy. I'm not dating him. Like, you don't need to give yourself anxiety or, like, look at what I'm doing. Like, I'm irrelevant, nice. You know? I was like, and then she was like, yeah, like, I'm really sorry. Like, toxic relationships will, like, do that. And I'm like, I feel you, but I'm going to do you one better and tell you, you really don't need to lose sleep over a guy sending nudes of himself to men in other countries thinking it's a girl.
To like bots.
And she was like dying. She was like, this is the best thing I've heard all year. She was like, thank you so much. She literally was like, I think I can finally close this chapter. I was like, yeah. I was like, I knew something was off because he said he tried to say you were like a friend of a friend. He didn't know, like, you know, like minimize it. And she was like, yeah, gaslighting was his specialty. She was like, yeah, friend of a friend that we're like about to move in together, travel it, you know, like dating for so and so time. And I'm like, yeah, sounds about right. I was like, we were like both like, yeah, like glad. She was like, glad you dodged this bullet. Like, true. And it was just so nice. And I was like, yes, like this is your karma. Like the female camaraderie that I'm like, this is so nice. Yeah, because like. But that was what scared me, because this was, like, the one time I didn't go on a dating app, and I tried to just, like, find a man that, like, I thought was, like, kind of vetted, would be a normal person. And then it was, like, worse.
Did your friend, like, know him really well?
So she worked with him, and so she was just like, yeah, he was nice and normal at work. Like, I'm really sorry. And I felt bad because he asked me not to share this with her, and I'm literally sharing it with the world. But, like, I'm not like saying anything identify. You know, like no one knows who I don't have him on my social media. No one can even like connect the dots. Right. But I sent it to her immediately before I sent it to him because I was like, girl, like I don't know what's going on. Like this is really freaking me out. Like I'm disturbed. And she was like, oh my God. She was like, do you want me to take this to him? Like you don't have to respond. She was like, I did not mean to I would never set you up with someone that I thought was bad. And I was like, it's okay. I'm just happy I didn't waste my Sunday because instead I just like went to the flea market. I think I bought like a blazer or something and just
amazing
coffee. It was really nice. But online dating is bad. Crazy. And Hinge,
I always feel like friend setups are very like hit or miss.
It's either like someone that's like, I know a man, you are a woman, hey, you should meet Kyle, and you're like, Kyle and I have nothing in common. And they're like, you're both single, and I'm like, okay, that's like, we both fill out the same section at the doctor's office, but that doesn't mean we're compatible. Like,
yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, no, friend setups, that's nice. Especially because, like, if you met your boyfriend through mutual friends, it probably wasn't a setup. You're probably just, like, hanging out as, like, a group, and then it, like, naturally evolves.
Actually, the guy who, like, introduced us was, like, a guy who was trying to get with me at the time.
So
he,
funny.
like, fumbled the bag so hard.
Are you still friends?
Kind of.
Okay.
But, like, every time I see him at parties and he's drunk, he'll always be like, I'm the reason you guys got together. And it just kind of gets old after a while. So,
and you're like, yeah, thank you. Do you want to be our flower boy?
Yeah, like, do you want us to name our kid after you? But, yeah, we see him occasionally. Yeah. He's, like, in the friend circle.
That's funny. That's so funny. Do you want me to do the Chat GPT versus Hinge prompts?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I had Chat GPT write me some Hinge prompts, and I'm gonna have Sara decide, and I have screenshots of real Hinge prompts. I'm gonna have her guess which one's real and which one is AI. Okay, gonna do, dating me is like eating acid at a children's party.
Real
or AI?
AI?
That's real.
Oh my God.
And these are all, I should add, these are all men that have like liked me on Hinge. These aren't even just random men. This is like my potential dating pool.
That's crazy.
Dating me is like being a little classy, yet not too flashy. Being confident, yet not cocky. Being ambitious, yet laid back. And seeing the world, but also staying in.
Real.
Yeah.
It's too elaborate. I feel like there's certain guys who will like put their life story on their profile, and I'm just like, it's too much.
My favorite are like, there's always just like the most generic responses. Like, first round's on me if always, like, first round's never not on me. And I'm just like, okay, cool. You're so chivalrous, bro.
Or the guys who have the prompt, like, I'm looking for someone who, and then they describe in detail.
Where it's like, or the people that sound like so sophisticated, like they're really, really looking for love on Hinge, which, like, I feel like, you know, I'm not looking for love on Hinge, but like it's unsettling when it's like to the level of like, this looks like a homework exercise from your therapist.
Yes.
And I feel deeply uncomfortable reading.
Yes, exactly.
Dating me is like entering a realm of constant temptation and unrealistic expectations that may leave you feeling unsatisfied and unfulfilled.
AI?
Yeah.
Though I feel like it could be real.
I think I put for that one, because I was just putting in really stupid stuff. I was like, give me a dating app from someone, I think it was a boy who was like, has like a porn addiction.
Oh
like
my
something.
God.
Like I just was putting in like the most out of pocket there. I did like guy that like thinks he's better than you or like everyone.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Therapy recently taught me I attract toxic because I reflect toxic.
Is that a prompt? Therapy
Yeah.
taught me? Wait,
Therapy
that's so
recently
good.
taught me.
Real.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, though.
Therapy recently taught me that vulnerability is the organic fair trade coffee of meaningful connections, and I'm brewing up a soulful blend.
Real? Because I hope it's real.
It's AI.
Oh my God.
But
I
I
feel
would
like that's
hear
actually
someone
really
say
cute.
Yeah. A life goal of mine. I want a ski cabin, a beach house, and a sweet NYC apartment.
AI?
No, that's real. But
Oh,
I'm also
wow.
I'm concerned because he wants a sweet NYC apartment. So like, does he? I can't remember if he just like doesn't live in New York or like
I was gonna
he
say
has
that.
a bad apartment. what the deal is? I'm looking for. We have in all caps. Woman wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return, doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success.
Small wages. AI?
That's a real. That's
Oh
a
my
real man.
God. Why would he say small wages?
Small. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be like, wait, are you paying me? What?
Or like, are you just not making a lot of money?
Yeah. I'm looking for a free-spirited muse to wander through life's eclectic tapestry with.
AI.
Yeah. Okay, my simple pleasures. Macchiato, thunderstorms, scattered thoughts turning into ideas, traveling, new books, memetics, or memetics? I don't know.
What is memetics?
I don't even know.
Oh. I'm going to guess real.
Yeah. My simple pleasures. Cars with cassette players, tide pools, loons, transparent materials, a nice pen.
AI.
That's a real man. That is a real boy. Man-child. I don't know.
Cars with cassette.
My simple pleasures. Indulging in the finer things, like fine dining, luxurious travels, and captivating conversations, a cut above the rest.
AI.
Yeah. Linus, are you indulging in your simple pleasures,
Aw.
eating a rawhide bone and probably being loud? I'll forgive you. Let's see. Okay, sorry. My simple pleasures include shutting myself off from the world, indulging in video games, and avoiding any unnecessary contact with the opposite sex.
That honestly sounds like me when I was in my single phase. Maybe real?
That's AI.
Wow.
That actually might have been the porn addiction one.
Interesting. Oh,
or
no.
Or it was just like someone that was like socially, I was like...
Socially...
Not even like socially awkward, but it was like, you know, like a guy that's
isolated.
Like avoiding that like doesn't like women.
Like a Sigma male.
Yeah. Oh, I think I said like incel or something.
Oh my god.
Okay, the key to my heart is leftist politics, philosophy, experimental film and music, furniture design, New York City history, color theory, science fiction and horror, poetry, linguistics, literary theory, flowers, nice smells, the color gray, the is a part of it.
Real?
Yes. This is what I'm working
That's
with.
like
Do you
so
see how
much.
painful this is? It's so painful.
Oh my god.
Simple pleasures: cryptocurrency, astrophysics, vinyl records, urban exploration, vintage camera collecting.
The fact that they chose to start the list with cryptocurrency, I don't know what to think. AI?
Yes.
Oh wow. Surely nobody would start the sentence with cryptocurrency.
Most spontaneous thing I've done: go to Disneyland in California and get off one of the rides while in motion.
Oh my god. Real?
Yeah. Most spontaneous thing I've ever done: spontaneously joining a flash mob in Times Square, embracing the chaos and dancing like nobody was watching.
Real.
No, that's AI.
Okay.
That would be a red flag. Someone was like, flash mob in Times Square.
My
I'd be
life
like,
is a
good.
movie.
Oh, green flags I look for: unresolved childhood trauma with a side of a white mani-pedi.
Real?
Yeah.
It's kind of cute.
We'll get along if you have an interest in art, culture, aesthetics, well-being, and complexity.
AI.
No, that's real.
Oh no.
I know. It's so bad.
What is complexity?
Dude, I don't... Well-being and complexity. Yeah. All these men, they kill me. It's painful.
I feel like some guys try to write their profile like what women would want rather than what, like, who they are.
But I feel like they're just so... Like, let me go right now just to the current man. So what happens is I'll delete Hinge, and then I'll re-download it. I'll look at the first person who likes me, and then I'll usually be like, nope, I'm getting off of here. I had a guy... So I have a picture that has me in front of one of my paintings. And the painting, I'll show you. It's like a pop art portrait that's like pink of Hedy Lamarr. It just looks like a cartoon girl, essentially. Where is it? I'll show you. It's this pink one. And and he goes, he was like, is that painting of the woman in your photo yours? And I was like, it is. And he goes, I love it. It reminds me a little of Piet Mondrian's Evolution paintings. Do you want to see what those paintings look like?
Oh, God.
And you tell me if there's any... This, like... What?
Are those, like, famous, or...?
They're famous, but I'm like, this is what the pink photo reminds... I'm just like, I feel like you're just trying to mansplain art to me.
Yes.
And it's not even related. And I'm just like... And then I looked at his job, and I won't give like, details, but, he does, like... he works in, like, marketing at, like, a sports company. And I'm like, why are you going to mansplain art to me? Like, I just was like...
It's probably like the only other art that he's like heard of.
This is like the only painting I've ever seen. It reminds me a lot of Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers, or like
Starry Night. Mona Lisa.
Let me just see it. Like, what is this? Am I dumb? What is a centenarian? A guy's life goal is becoming a centenarian.
It's like being 100 years old. I think. I'm pretty sure.
So he just wants to live to be 100.
He wants to live to be 100.
I mean, like, yeah, it'll take you all your whole life. Goal. It's kind of like a hard feat.
But, like, aren't you just like your whole body's in pain by then? Like, what's
I had I think she was a great aunt. She was like my mom's aunt, sister, I had maybe a great aunt, but she lived to be like 105, and it was simply she passed away because she was kind of like, I'm bored, like no one else is left, like, you know, like, I don't want to take my medicine anymore, you know. She just kind of was
that's
like,
crazy.
And she was like, oh no thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she had like red wine and dark chocolate every day or something. It was like one of those things where people are like, how did you do it? But she also never married and never had kids, I'm pretty sure. So like I feel like that's pretty
the secret
common.
to living a long time.
Yeah. They say that single women without kids are like the happiest demographic. And so that's why
I'm doing it wrong.
That's why like a lot of women, they like get divorced, you know, when they're older, or like maybe it's just like single like, because I'm sure there's people that are like divorced women that have kids or something, but they're like grown, you know.
Yeah.
But that's why, like, every time I'm like worried because I don't think I want to have kids. Like, I'm pretty like solid on that. Like, I think I would maybe like adopt or something like that, or foster. But I also like listen to true crime a lot, and so like that scares me.
Oh my god, I heard a story.
And like I know that like my own biological kid is probably more likely to be a murderer with like the mental illness in my family. But like adopting a kid or like fostering a kid, like literally not knowing, I'm like terrified they're gonna try to like kill me in my sleep or something.
I literally heard a story about that like this week.
It's so freaky.
Terrifying.
But yeah, but what I was saying about this, like every time I'm like worried, I'm like, oh my god, am I going to be so unfulfilled or unhappy if I don't have kids? But then I'm like, all these women, like, and I see like I'm on like the side of TikTok now where there will be like older women without kids, and they're not just like shitting on women that do have kids or anything like that, but they're kind of like, yeah, like my life is still great, like it's not over, I'm not like some sad old wench, you know, where they're like, I have boyfriends, you know. And
and you have friends too. Like you
I
can
know,
just have friends for the rest of your life and hang out and spend money on yourself. And
I have my gay husband, he has a boyfriend, and like I'm always joke that like I won't be a surrogate because like I don't want to be pregnant, but I was like, I'll give you guys an egg. I'm like, how cool would it be if my gay husband and we have like an actual genetic offspring? I'm like, that would be like very cool.
That would be cool.
Our baby would either be beautiful or absolutely hideous. We both have like very strong eyebrows and facial features. Like I don't really know, it could go either way.
Strong eyebrows,
and we both have a lot of anxiety, so who knows, it could be it could be interesting. Whenever I told him, he was like, oh thanks, like honey, like that's so nice. And then I told his boyfriend was like, oh yeah, you're like the third person to like offer us. And I was like, third? I was like, I better be number one on the list of like what you want. I was like, whoa.
That's crazy.
I know. I was like, who's my competition? We can have some boating accidents.
Oh my god.
No, just kidding.
So funny. That's hilarious.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. But yeah, that's the story of how I had an almost first date that got interrupted by sextortion. Also, I don't know if those are my upstairs neighbors are very loud and very obnoxious. I've always wanted to airdrop them something that's just.
Do they have their airdrop on? Wait, did you notice that in the latest like iOS version, you can't just have your airdrop on for everyone all the time?
Really?
You can only set it to everyone for 10 minutes.
That's kind of nice. Because I always get kind of disturbed when I get people like airdropping me stuff at random. I'm like, one time I was on a plane and I got an airdrop to me, and it was this meme of Patrick Star, and it was like, that's not very cash money of you. And I was just like, who's this for? And I kind of want to be like,
you got an airdrop like a positive meme.
Yeah,
because I get airdropped memes by strangers like several times, and they're all just like cute or like wholesome.
I'm just afraid. There's been times I've like accidentally airdropped like a bunch of pictures of like me and a friend where I'm like, yeah, this is your phone. I'm like, no, this is wrong iPhone.
And you can't cancel it once it
no,
like,
they
starts.
can't. They cancel it. Thankfully,
okay.
It's like I'm like, okay, great. You're not like gonna murder me. You're like, I don't want this. I don't want to. But then I'm kind of like, wait, why don't you want to keep these pictures?
Yeah. Am I not cute?
Oh man, yeah, I love airdrop. I hate having to text pictures and like WhatsApp. But I need to get a new phone because I had like a journey where I took off my phone case thinking that would be fun, and I dropped
Everyone
my phone.
has a phase like that.
And now it just has like this like permanent blur to it, to where now it looks like an Android or something, and it kind of looks spooky.
Wait, did you crack the screen or?
No, it's weird. It like looks normal, but like, and I thought like maybe it's just dirty or like foggy, but like a lot of the times when I take pictures, it looks like there's like a a glaze. It's like a glazed donut filter.
No, it kind of does look a bit like an Android.
But like I don't know if I want to get a new iPhone, because I got like a nice camera, which I have for like traveling, a digital camera, so I'm like, okay, I can just use that for pictures. But I also need to get a new MacBook so that like as I try to do more stuff with the podcast and invest in that, and I have like my nice little expensive Sony I bought, and I have like these other cameras, like I'm like, okay, I should probably just get like a nicer computer that has like more storage and can handle that.
Have you tried taking a photo with your phone and then airdropping it to your computer to see if it looks blurry?
Oh, I should do that. No, because like the front camera works fine. The front camera's not blurry,
so
I can still take.
Like the camera
I can still
itself.
take fire selfies. Okay. But it's also, I didn't even know what model. I thought an iPhone 13. Found out today when I was trying to look at new phone cases that it was an iPhone 12, and I was like, oops.
What model are we on?
I think we're on like 14, but they always skip numbers and stuff. And then there's like the 14 Pro that has like all. I know it's old because there's only 2 cameras on it, and I feel like a lot of them have like 3 now.
Oh yeah. The stove mean.
Yeah. Do you?
I have 3.
Wow.
I think I have the latest one. Or it's the one from last year.
Your phone case, does it protect it? Does it like?
Yeah, it like slides up.
That's
but it's also really annoying because like when I want to take a photo really quickly, it'll be like on it. So I just usually like.
And then if I'm ever trying to like, not like I take random pictures of people, like
I kind of do,
but like you're like.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like subtle like, about it.
Oh man, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Did I ever tell you about the time a guy that we went to high school with slid into my Twitter DMs like probably like 3 days before I went away to college, and was just like, I've always had a crush on you, so now's my last chance. And I'm like, bro, you had how long? We went to middle school together, we went to high school together. And then he would like DM me. It was a Hail Mary. Every time there was like a holiday, but then I was kind of like, wait, were you just like embarrassed to talk to me in high school? Like I was like, I looked the same. I just was like kind of a nerd and like a little bit of a loner. But he would always like DM me on like college breaks. Like, yeah, so like, I hate to bother, but we're definitely grabbing dinner like when you're back or something. And I just
weird
was like,
way to ask you out.
Like he just got like pushy, and then, but I have a
friend. Wait, is this?
We have a. Yeah.
Oh my god! Literally, it just sounds like him.
Yeah, we have a mutual. We had like the girl that I was talking about earlier, who's like now married. He DM'd her, but he was saying some like, I don't know if he was saying like sexual stuff, but he was like very forward and saying stuff.
After she got married?
No. This was like the same time we were in college. And he was like trying to set herself, but I think she was already like dating someone, her now husband. But she was like, I have a boyfriend, and I know that you've like already messaged Carly stuff, because we used to like laugh, and her and I would be like, oh my god, like look at this, because she lived in my neighborhood growing up, you know, it was so funny. But then I was just like, bro, and that's why it's so weird, because there's like another guy in that friend group that like now will DM me, who's like kind and was like, I remember being like nice in high school, but sometimes I'll see like some of them like don't follow me appear in my Instagram stories, and I'm like, am I being chatted about in the group text somewhere? Like it's just kind of like that uncomfortable like I'm like, is this because I'm pretty or because I did something like embarrassing? And people are like, oh bro,
oh my god.
But yeah,
I'm convinced that guys who are like very popular in high school just like
peak,
like not necessarily peak, but like never like properly learn how to like talk to girls.
They never had to, because
you've never had to work for it.
Yeah, and now they're like in the real world. That happens too, though. I feel like that's also why guys in fraternities get married to girls that were in like college, like shortly after, because like they don't. A lot of times they like don't know how to like hit on girls properly at bars and social settings, and they can't rely on like their letters to be like, oh, you're in like a cool house, or like like of course they want to go out with you. To where like you can't just like a lot of times the guys too are like very like medium ugly, and like, so, you know what I mean, like the guy, so you'll see those, have you seen those TikToks where it's like my friends, and then it's like the medium ugly guys that like are making them cry, you know, and then they show a picture of like the girls and they're always like so beautiful, and it's like the guy.
Dude, I don't know why, but the medium ugly guys have like crazy game, and they're always players.
I really think it's a thing, because as girls, I feel like girls like we get we think, oh, if I date a guy that's like a little bit less attractive or something, like he'll really like me and he'll be nice to me. But what happens is you just get disrespected by an ugly man and you feel even worse because you're like,
literally.
this
That's
ugly
my
man should be worshiping me. I'm not like narcissistically like saying anything by that, but like, you know what I mean? When girls are like, oh yeah, like he'll treat me right because no. Oh man,
like
I just want to find a really hot man who may be losing his vision, and I'll just like take it away with my personality, and then like he just like won't be able to see what he's looking at, and I'll be like, you're very beautiful, like.
Ideally, I feel like as I get older, I need my future husband's vision to get worse. Yeah. So he like doesn't care if I'm ugly.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like I was always friends with girls that were like so beautiful. I mean, I still am. Like one of my best friends in high school, I'll show you a picture, but she literally like looks like Selena Gomez, and she's just like like one of those people that you're just like, wow, she's like rappers and famous people like slide in her DMs, and she does. Yeah. She has a private account with like 2,000 followers. You know, she's not like a public Instagram model. Yeah. Like, how do they even find you? Like, you know, like all these like athletes and stuff. And so, like, being friends with her, like, my college roommate freshman year literally looks like a Barbie flat out. Like, the joke was her boyfriend at the time was Barbie pledge in a fraternity. He had to carry around a Barbie everywhere. And it literally
What is that?
So, like, in fraternities during their pledgeship, they usually, like, assign them, like, a job or task. Like, there will be dumb things. Like, we had an Abe Lincoln pledge at a fraternity where he literally had to wear, like, he had to dress like Abe
a hat?
Lincoln. Yeah, and wear that, like, a whole semester until he was, like, initiated.
Hot. Or like not like hot, but like
hot, like
temperature hot.
But there's like all these little silly things, and so there's like puppy pledge, and he has to like send out like text to a million girls or whoever subscribes of like a puppy every day. There's just like random things that are they're funny but dumb. But he was Barbie pledge, so he had to carry on this Barbie. He always had to have it on him at any moment.
Like visibly, or just like in his backpack?
Yeah, just like with him. But it would be in like the little front pocket of the JanSport hangout, and it literally. They would joke that like he was carrying her around, like it looked just like her. Wow. And so like I've always my life, like I've always been like, oh yeah, I know that like I'm the smart, funny one, like Fred's side, not like smarter than these people, but I'm like, yeah, I'm the one that's there to like win you over with my personality. Or, like this is why I've developed hobbies, like because I don't have the like, I'm not like the, you know what I mean? Where
yes.
I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like really well rounded. I can like paint, I can write, and I'm like smart. I'm like not the Barbie, but like,
I mean, you're not ugly either. So it's also just a plus that you have hobbies.
It's nice, and I'm not saying my friends don't have hobbies. They definitely do. My one friend's like an incredible dancer, which makes it even like worse because I'm like, damn it, like people where I'm like
got everything.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, but yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
It's weird though when I see guys that are like that, because I have some guy friends that have like the same kind of like thing, or like, you know, when people have like ugly duckling syndrome, like they had like a glow up, but they still feel like ugly inside. You're like me. But like I have some guy friends. It's worse though when it's guys, because like guys that used to be ugly and then they blow up. And then they start getting all these girls, or usually they get like really tall or something happens. Yeah, and girls are like, whoa, you're over 6 feet. You're suddenly handsome. Then they're like players that are like not used to it, but then they're like insecure looking for the validation. And,
and then they get like cocky.
And I'm like, I liked you better when you were ugly. You were a lot nicer.
But then at the same time, I feel like guys who are like always very attractive and like tall, like they also are really just bad. Like
they're usually boring.
They're very bland, because it's like everybody was always attracted like, to you because of looks. You know?
Like they could say
you didn't have to be funny.
They could say anything and just be like, like
exactly. Like they probably think they're funny, but they're probably not. I mean generalization,
but yeah, I'm trying to think. On that note, let me see if I can find a ChatGPT, if I can make them write me an outro, like a goodbye. Thank you for tuning in to this thought-provoking episode, and remember to stay curious, keep learning, and embrace the extraordinary possibilities that life has to offer.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
This was fun. Loved hearing your stories.
Yay.